Traps. I'm so excited to be here today. I will be doing a January wrap-up pretty soon, but this is a book review of Making Believe by DJ Russo. I will be giving my normal review, and then I'll be doing an in-depth spoiler alert type one. So I will let you know when that starts, and if y'all want to click off the video and everything else because you don't want to listen to the spoilers, that's fine by me. All right, let's get into it. I gave this book 5 stars, and I gave it a 2.5 out of 5 spice level, 25 to 75 smut to plot. I read this book January 22nd. I read it in one sitting. This book was unlike anything I have read so far. Calvin is such a different MMC. I don't recall ever reading about one like him. Paulina is also so adorable. She's feisty. I love it. This was an easy, sweet, cozy, yet interesting read for me. I used it as a palate cleanser. After reading so many dark romances, I would recommend it. However, this is a monster romance, so if you're going in there, be warned. It does have a few triggers, and I'll be putting it in the video and down in the description, so if you do need to look over that, I would definitely. Now we're getting into characters. So we have Calvin, who is our main male character, a lanky scientist nerd who lives by himself with his cat Bonnet. Then we have Paulina, who is our female main character, the future queen of the hive. Elvis, who is Calvin's little brother and the original caretaker of the beehive. Jules, who is Elvis's new girlfriend and master of the Beekeeper Guild. Maradama Elsa, who is the villain of our story and the trainer of the future queens of the hive. Florin, who is the other villain of our story and Paulina's fiance. Sir Beatrix, who is Paulina's guard. Sylvie, who is the future forager. Kyle, who is Calvin's friend that he hangs out with on the roof. And Maurice, Kyle's old boss. Now, before I head to the annotations, this is a 18+ book. It has sexual scenes and explicit language. I will be using some of that language during the annotations, so just be warned. Annotation 1. Come for me, sunshine, I whisper hoarsely into her ear. Who the fuck is the man speaking to this beautiful woman this way? Because it sure as hell isn't me. Calvin, page 109. 2. The stars have nothing on you, Poe. In fact, you're probably making them jealous. Calvin, page 186. 3. Elvis lets out a deep, throaty laugh. Hey, not wearing your dorky bow tie today? Or your pocket protector? What's up with that? You're actually wearing regular people clothes. I roll my eyes, and Paulina stops chatting with Faith to glare at my brother and emit a soft growl his direction. Whoa, whoa. Okay, sorry, Paulina. I'm just busting his balls a little, he says, throwing his hands up in defeat. Paulina's eyes narrow. Bust them less, she hisses. My Calvin looks perfect in his bow tie, by the way. Page 255. Okay, so now we're getting into the story, and these are going to be spoilers. So from here on, if you don't want to listen to anything about the book before you read it, click off the video. But make sure you like and subscribe. Thank y'all. We meet Calvin, who is giving Milo from Atlantis, when his brother asks him to take care of his beehive for him so he can go on vacation. This is mainly to impress his new girlfriend, Jules. Calvin reluctantly agrees and sets up a place for the beehive. Then we meet Paulina, the next queen to Elvis's hive. Her maiden flight is in 2 weeks, and she has to mate with Florin to become queen. She doesn't get along with her aunt Elsa, who is supposed to be training her to become queen. However, Elsa is extremely mean to Paulina and tries to control the hive. Calvin shrinks himself in a very Honey, I Shrunk the Kids way, and is almost eaten by a widow fae, a half-woman, half-spider being, but he gets rescued by the bees only to be kidnapped. So Calvin meets Sir Beatrix and then Paulina. It's an almost instant love for them two, but I would go personally more along the lines of kindred spirits. We watch as their love grows, and Elsa and Florin are plotting behind the scenes. They make Calvin stay until the ball, 3 days after he's been kidnapped. The ball is to celebrate Paulina's coronation and the caretakers coming to visit, as if he wasn't kidnapped. But at last, we must go on. Later that night, Paulina unexpectedly sees Calvin naked on his way to the bath, but she stays after he dresses and asks him to read her the book A Midsummer's Night's Dream by William Shakespeare. The next morning, Calvin is giving a tour by Paulina, but when they reach her favorite spot, things get spicy. And that's how Calvin finds out Paulina's feminine juices are actual honey. But after they have their fun and Paulina finishes, Florin shows up and waits until Paulina leaves, so he can tell Calvin he needs to leave as soon as possible after the ball, basically threatening Calvin. Then drops Calvin off with Sir Beatrix in the training grounds and meets Sylvie, who is a future forager. He notices that Sir Beatrix and Sylvie are very close friends. As we get to the ball, Calvin finds Paulina by herself crying and asks her to dance. While dancing, they notice Florin and Elsa whispering to each other, glaring at them. But as the night goes on, Paulina and Calvin sneaks away, and they get spicy again. But they're interrupted by Sir Beatrix and Sylvie. They decide to go back out to the ball, couldn't take a chance of getting caught again, and socialize with the bees. But it doesn't take long for Florin and Elsa to disappear. Just as they disappear, a young bee yells out that they are under attack by Yellow Jackets. The Yellow Jackets arrive, killing many of the bees, including a visiting queen Paulina was close with. Calvin protects Paulina by shielding her with his body. They stand there like that until Paulina finds them. They get Sylvie out before taking Paulina and Calvin to the emergency tunnels. So Beatrix and Sylvie decide to stay behind to get rid of the Yellow Jackets. After they do that, they promise to find Calvin and Paulina. The duo leave the hive and head to the Scarlet Valley, where Paulina's foragers go when everything is in bloom. Calvin tells Paulina when they arrive that he thinks Elsa and Florin is behind the Yellow Jacket invasion. And then Calvin leads Paulina to the realization that Elsa is the one to drop the wards on the beehive and let Paulina's mother die. Things after that start to get a little spicy until the wind blows and knocks Calvin off. But he starts falling and Paulina saves him. She's gotta save her man, you know, independent woman. However, she overcorrects and it sends them tumbling into a poppy stem, then the ground. After Paulina recovers from the fall, they start discussing possibilities of where to go when the most terrifying creature chases them. A chicken chases them, and as Paulina tries to fly faster and higher than the crazy bird, the fiend takes Calvin's shoe. After the terror settles, it gets spicy as the chapter goes on. With their wonderful night under the stars, the next morning they wake up and still no Sir Beatrix and Sylvie. With this grim outcome, they decide to find Calvin's machine so he can go back and evict the Yellow Jackets. As they arrive on the rooftop, Calvin spots Kyle. Paulina soars towards him to get his attention, only for Kyle to knock her aside with his hand. As Calvin starts towards her, he falls only to be saved by a Yellow Jacket and is taken back to the hive. Paulina stabs Kyle with her stinger blade and gets his attention only after realizing Calvin is gone. Calvin is thrown inside a jail At first, he tries to fight them, but then realizes that is useless and decides to trick the two Yellow Jackets. He does this by telling them humans can't lie, I wish, and then tells them Elsa's and Florin's fake plan to discard them after they have the hive, which is actually probably true, come to think of it. I do think that's probably what would normally happen with a bad plan. They would get rid of who helped them so they can have the hive for themselves. But either way, we do not know. This plan works and the Yellow Jackets go off to kill the evil duo. From a sail a few rows back, he hears Sir Beatrix and Sylvie. He lets them both out as they plot to take back the hive. Sylvie decides to split up and look for Paulina while Sir Beatrix and Calvin deal with the hive. When the evil duo realizes that they don't have the help of the Yellow Jackets anymore, Florin bounces, he's out of there, and the Yellow Jackets take care of Elsa. But Paulina gets Kyle to tell Maurice about what's going on and asks for the ray, which he gave to him for safekeeping. After Elsa was killed, Sir Beatrix and Calvin went in search of their women. Just as the Yellow Jackets go after them, Sir Beatrix flies Calvin out of the beehive and they spot Kyle and Paulina with Calvin's Shrinkerton, and as Kyle sets the ray to the right setting to change Calvin back, Florin shows up. Paulina starts to fight Florin when Sylvie comes flying, trying to help, only for Paulina to command her to stop. In Paulina's mind, Florin is her fiance and therefore her problem to deal with. But just as Paulina gets ready to raise her blade to kill him, the ray goes off and Florin grows the size of a human. Having the height advantage, Florin raises his foot to stomp them, Calvin shielding Paulina, saying their I love yous and goodbyes. Just in time, Calvin hits the button and makes both Paulina and Calvin grow. Calvin and Florin starts fighting, but Florin fights dirty and shatters Calvin's glasses and tries to blind him. Before he could, Maurice sprays him with the garden hose. Maurice kicks Florin, and in turn, Florin breaks Maurice's ankle. Calvin tricks Florin like he did with the Yellow Jackets. When this works again, he rips off Florin's wings, and this leads to Florin jumping off the rooftop. In the end, Paulina stays with Calvin and is no longer queen to be. Sir Beatrix and Sylvie both stay as humans. Maurice ends up buying the apartment building for low income. Everyone has a happily ever after. Thank y'all. If you all liked this, let me know any other suggestions that you might have, any books you would like me to read. I normally read dark romance, monster romance, and reverse harems. That's what I'm mostly into. If y'all have any other ideas you'd like me to film, anything like that, just drop them in the comments. Like and subscribe if you do like this video. Thank y'all. Bye.